That's what we do. Set 'em up, knock 'em down, make that cherry glow. Whiskey and cigars, a gentleman's cologne.
Cheers, y'all.
Well.
That sounds like a party just about to begin, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this fine radio program, podcast, and video extravaganza known internationally as the world-famous Smokin' and Toastin'. And we're just underway, and Ian has brought some sort of interesting show beer. What's going on here? Oh, it's from one of my all-time favorite breweries, the Guadalupe Brewing Company.
I happen to be passing through New Braunfels.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, Cruz would probably really like a beer from this place.
I always would like a beer from that place.
And what a
I enjoyed
cool
myself.
tap room it was.
You got to see how it's laid out and how cool it is.
Yeah, they had a band playing and all kinds of stuff. It was actually really nicely set up.
Yeah, a lot of outdoor space, but and of course you were there maybe in a cooler time, but they have misters everywhere.
It was a much cooler time because I was there.
Yeah, well, of course.
That's how that works.
Yeah, I understand this. But so what is this mystery beer you brought us for a show beer from
Now, I'm going to have to pull it up to get exactly what's going on in this beer, but it's called Show de Bola.
Show de Bola.
Show de Bola.
That sounds like a cross between something happening on Broadway and a Kid Rock song.
Something like that, right? Give me a second. I'll pull up exactly what it is. But I thought this one would be
Ladies
a lot
and
of
gentlemen,
fun.
welcome to Show de Bola.
Show de Bola. Honey ale with pineapple and cinnamon.
Oh, that sounds just terrible.
Dude, wait till you try it.
Okay, so you have tried this before, I take it.
Oh, I tried it yesterday. I had to figure out which growler to buy.
Oh my, that's good.
Yeah, it does that.
It almost took me like to the holidays, like just in a snap. It's not like a Christmas ale, but it's got just enough of that.
There's a little snickerdoodle-ish to it right at the end. And normally, if you put pineapple in beer, I'm like, I'm not really wanting to be a part of it.
Oh, see, I'm with you. And beer and pizza do not need pineapple, generally speaking.
Right. You know, my brother-in-law, Mike, he's been on the show. He's a pineapple on pizza. He's very suspect. I don't really.
I understand why you would. I understand why you would be a little, a little
leery of it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, this beer, I tried it and I was like, oh, that's so interesting. That's definitely what I'm.
Well, so you got to experience what I did when I went there, which was this is not just another craft brewery that has
their beers are
a space, and they're innovative and interesting, and oh man, what a place it is. I put them on my list when we recently did our list of the favorite breweries that we've been to. They were definitely on mine. I don't think you'd been there at that time. Now let me look at what this is. Oh, beer style Scotch ale.
I brought that for you.
Oh, wow. What a nice gentleman you are.
We don't have to have that on the show.
I take back all of the stuff I said about you last week. Not the week before, but last week. I take
last
all of last week's stuff back. Speaking of last week, big thanks to our special guest on last week's show, Albert Cisneros from Smoking Swan.
What a fun guy.
And Grego, the legendary Houston radio broadcaster.
What an also amazingly fun guy.
And of course, Alan Danny was there. But the show was a lot of fun. I think we got off track about 30 seconds in and never got back on it for the entire show. But it was a great deal of fun.
Did we totally Nicolas Cage this one?
I think we may have.
For those of you just tuning in, if we talk about Nicolas Cage, sometimes we just get derailed, and that's what we call it now.
Right. It's like a verb. It's Nicolas. Oh, you've been Nicolas Caged. We've got you so far off the topic that you may never be able to return.
I saw on TikTok that someone supposedly saw him at Disneyland.
Oh, really?
Weekend, yeah.
Was he sober? Because the great thing about Nicolas Cage is that Often public sightings of the man involve him being stumbling drunk.
Nice.
Which I love. Yeah. I just like Nicolas Cage is a national treasure, and I dare you, if you're like on the fence about him, and I understand why you would be, because at least half of his movies are absolute garbage. But if you're on the fence about Nicolas Cage, I dare you to watch The Unbearable Weight of
amazing.
The Unbearable Weight of, is it Massive Talent?
Massive Talent.
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. It's a film about Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage, and it is brilliant, and he's brilliant in it.
And Pedro Pascal is excellent in it.
Yes.
Is there anything Pedro Pascal has been in that he hasn't been great in?
No, he's so fun.
Which brings me to like my happy place, because The Last of Us Season 2 is back. Season 2 is here. The show is back. He's so good in that. Oh.
I haven't seen that.
It's wonderful. Based on the video game, The Last of Us.
Yes.
And it's the first, in my opinion,
Oh, that's
movie?
like an apocalyptic kind of thing?
It's the first movie or series based on a video game that is not just bad or but it's fantastic.
Oh, you haven't seen the Minecraft movie then this weekend?
I have not seen the Minecraft movie, no. I probably will.
Hey, what about Resident Evil?
Resident Evil was okay. Yeah,
Mila Jovovich.
I know. Well, that's why it was okay. It'd have been terrible if there was someone else in there, but she was in there, so I'll watch it.
That's the thing, is that I also got into a thing where someone was saying about GTA being a movie, but I said that's the thing, is that you can't do that because the movies were what GTA was made after.
Well, exactly.
Scarface and Goodfellas and all of that. It was
kind of the other way around, right?
So that was the other way around.
Exactly. Yeah, it'd be hard to do a GTA movie. Because my whole thing when I play GTA is I just like to steal a car and drive it till I wreck it, and then steal another one. To me, that's the fun of the whole game. Forget about all the missions.
You get to play your own game. Really.
That's right. And proudly I do. Well, our show is supposed to be about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars, and we will get to that eventually.
We totally Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, we will. We have to see. That's what it means when we say Nicolas Cage. We will be trying some interesting beers on the program today, or I think they'll be interesting.
We already have.
Yeah, we already have. Well, I don't know. This has set a high bar for the beers to be interesting. But from another of my favorite breweries, Bare Bottle Brewing Company in San Francisco, California. We've had their beers on the shows a number of times, although it has been a while, but they've all been IPAs. They kind of specialize in IPAs. I see what you're spilling there. We are today, though, going to be trying a German Pilsner from Bare Bottle Brewing Company. It is called Wundergarten, spelled Wundergarten, Wundergarten. And those guys are from San Francisco. I'll tell you what, if this German Pilsner is half as good as their IPAs, it'll be fantastic.
Oh, nice.
Their IPAs have all been so good. From Santa Cruz, California, and Humble Sea Brewing Company, we'll be trying their double dry hopped West Coast IPA called Kookasaurus.
That sounds awesome.
Which I like already, yeah. And then from a little closer to home for us, from Sherman, Texas, we'll be trying the Texas Tuxedo Porter from 903 Brewers. And I'm very excited about that. Now, Ian, you brought the spirits, and I see you brought more than one bottle. So tell me what you're doing over here.
Oh, so I just wanted to get a little ahead of the game because I decided today we'd talk about Old Grandad 16, which just came out a few months back.
I've read a lot about it, actually.
And so I brought the Old Grandad the Old Grandad 16, but I also wanted to do some comparison. I brought the Bonded, and I brought the Old Grandad 114 as well.
It's fair to say then that.
So I'm just trying to get ahead and pour some of these.
With your bar, you've taken a pretty large position on Old Grandad.
Man, my friend Josh turned me on to Old Grandad a while back. Thank you, Josh. He'll listen to this later at a much faster pace.
You mean he listens to it at like 1.5 or whatever?
People do the 2 times thing, yeah.
If we talk really fast before the speed is turned on, will he understand what we're saying?
So, can you imagine if it was the old school radio people that just used to talk like this all the time?
He turned me on to Old Grandad, and I really, really enjoy it. And it's become, since Weller is a little harder to find.
Yeah.
Weller was my go-to for years, and then it's become a little more allocated. People caught on to that, and it's become a little harder to find. So I figured I needed something to back that up. Old Grandad's kind of taken that place. Old Grandad and Wild Turkey, really. But so I brought the 16. I figured we'd do some side by side comparisons to what else is available here.
I'm so down with you.
Isn't old Grandad pretty cost effective too?
It is very cost effective. It's like $20 for the 750.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
The old Grandad 114, which is the higher proof. Old Grandad is I think $25.
Wow.
You know,
I love it,
and it's fantastic.
Which just goes to show you, it's actually one of the core tenets of this program is that I'm not going to pay a lot for this whiskey. You may be paying more soon thanks to all the tariffs and stuff, but the point is you don't have to break the bank and buy a $100 bottle of whiskey. Now that can be a very rewarding thing to do.
Yes,
but you can get some damn good whiskey for $20, $30.
16 is not cost effective.
Right? What is the
fact, it completely negates the cost effectiveness of the other ones.
Well, you know what? They're
this
allowed.
This is 150.
Yeah.
Okay, that really does. Yeah, but they're allowed. I mean, you know what? Hey, if you're providing 2 or 3 very cost effective, very good cost effective alternatives, you're allowed to have your top shelf stuff.
Well, and this is why I thought I would get ahead of the pouring, so that's why I'm kind of doing it right now. It's just we got 3 different things. But I thought it might be real nice to just try them side side and see how far the gap is.
I'm excited.
Old
between
Grandad,
their $20 and their $100.
Between their $25 and their $150.
Yeah, all right. Well, that will be a very interesting thing to try. Now, before we wrap up our first segment here, I might want to have you grab the ukulele because we are going to be doing drinking news and a drinking fact on today's program. Ooh. So our teaser for the drinking fact is another round for the 3rd grade class, please. And drinking news is where we bring you a story from the news that is, as far as we know, an actual story reported by actual news outlets somewhere in the world. It's not a parody. It is
actual people doing actual things.
Yeah. Often they're drinking, and so that is sometimes the content of drinking news. It's not always about drinking, but it is always best enjoyed if you've been drinking. And our drinking news teaser headline for today: send in the clowns. Just let me leave first. So that's all.
Sometimes you have a aversion to clowns, don't you?
I do. I wish I had a more original phobia, something that was kind of cooler in a way, but no, I do have a real aversion to clowns.
What would a cool phobia be?
I don't know.
Cool
But clowns, the clown thing is too common. Like, I don't remember that. I don't remember the name, but there's one. It's a legitimate phobia. It's the fear of an empty wine glass. Oh, no, I'm serious. There really is. It's caliscatanophobia or something like that. I'm not getting it right, but we had it. That was actually a drinking fact at one time.
That's right.
That we did on the program.
That's right.
And I have found another drinking fact, so we'll get to that. Do we have time for the beverage of mystery?
Let's do it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have brung it, and it is
the beverage of mystery.
Only person who knows what the beverage of mystery is before we sip is the person what brung it, and that would be me in this case. Ian and Terry are completely...
It actually smells delightfully limey.
Yeah. It's a light nose.
It smells good.
Yeah.
Is it lime or is it lemon furniture polish?
It's lemon.
Lemon. That was a Sprite tagline for a while. Sprite tastes like a lemon.
Lemon.
Mm-hmm. All right. You've taken a sip. What do you think?
It doesn't taste like what I thought it was going to taste like. It has. You can. It's like there's. It tastes like a Sprite with tequila in it.
Yeah, like it's been spiked.
I mean, you can taste the alcohol in that.
How about the aftertaste? It's not awful.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's not got the sweetener, but it's not a great aftertaste.
Do you want to ask me the question?
Yeah. Is it a beverage of mystery in your pocket, or are you just happy to be here?
No, I'm happy to be here. But this is the beverage of mystery. It is Jameson's whiskey lemonade in a can, made with Irish whiskey. It says, and natural lemon flavor and carbonation. So that's the only things they list.
This color?
Well.
Right, Jameson is not a clear whiskey.
No, Jameson is not clear whiskey.
All right, we'll go more on this as we can. I will bring us back in a moment. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It is Smoking and Toasting. It's show number 427, by the way, and we are all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And we do talk about those things quite a bit, unless we kind of get Nicolas Caged and go off into something else. Our beverage of mystery today was the Jameson whiskey lemonade made with Irish whiskey, and they only list 3 ingredients: Irish whiskey, natural lemon flavor, and carbonation.
It's really weird, though. Is it okay? So is it Irish whiskey that they haven't put in a barrel?
I don't know, because it is clear.
Because it's clear.
Yeah, and it looks like, maybe like a Sprite or a 7-Up.
It's very strange. If it was a little bit yellower, more amber, if you will, I would have. But it's not bad.
Pretty good.
It's not bad. It smells good, which is already puts it way above a lot of them.
Well, and a lot of these
down with sweeteners.
No, a lot of these canned cocktails just don't taste right. There's something off about them, and I don't really notice something off in this one.
I could see this in a glass with a bunch of ice.
Nice and cold.
Sitting out by the pool.
You know what it actually makes me think, though?
What's that?
Is I need to make a big pitcher of lemonade and just put some Jamesons in it.
Right? Yeah.
Because wouldn't that be
See
good?
how it tastes.
Yeah.
What's the ABV on that?
I don't think it's...
Yeah, isn't lemonade even yellowish?
7% alcohol by volume. So about like a big IPA.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it says it's just lemon, carbonated water, and
lemon,
Jameson. So maybe it's just the amount of lemon and Jameson are not enough to really change the color too much.
I'm totally going to make some lemonade and put some Irish whiskey in it. That sounds like a great idea.
And it comes in a skinny can, so you feel like you're doing something healthy.
That's right. I am contributing my own health by drinking this because it's a skinny can.
Skinny can.
It's good to know.
Not just good, but good
Makes
for
my
you.
hands feel huge.
So Ian brought our show beer for today, and it is from one of my absolute favorite breweries, the Guadalupe Brewing Company, outside of New Braunfels, Texas. And so you hadn't been prior to going this last weekend, right?
No, I hadn't.
And so did you feel like my review of the place was accurate?
Oh, the place was great. I didn't get to stay there very long. Like I said, I was passing through, so I grabbed up a couple beers. I stayed for the amount of one beer, but they had a band outside. It was a good band, kind of a fusion trio. They had a whole bunch of people. They had pizza, all kinds of stuff going on there. The guys behind the counter were really knowledgeable and a lot of fun to chat with.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that place is awesome, and I recommend it to anyone who happens to be in that Central Texas area. Go check this place out. It is worth the hour or two that you will spend in it because it's just absolutely awesome. Okay, a lot to do on the show today, so let's get to it. You have the opportunity to smoke anything interesting this week.
Boy, did I.
Tell me.
Today's cigar starts with the story of Javier, who owns a car wash in Austin.
Not where I was expecting. Are we invoking Nicolas Cage now?
Paul Harvey, I think.
Good day.
So a few weeks back, I went to a friend of mine's birthday party in Austin, and I left his birthday party. I'd stopped drinking. I needed to drive home, so I'd stopped drinking about an hour prior, and then and I went to a cigar shop that was right up the road, right off of 71/290 there.
Right.
At South First, and there's a cigar shop.
Yeah, I think I remember you telling me about this place.
And the guy was really, really nice in there, but the customers were also really nice. So I sat down. I ended up chatting with the owner, and the guys at the table over here were chatting at the same time. So I said, "Hey, you mind if I sit over here?" And sat down. We all started chatting. Well, one of the guys' name was Javier, owns a cigar shop. We got to chatting, and before he left, he goes, "Here, this is what I smoke most of the time," and he handed me a La Aurora Diamond. This is one of the ones in the
They come in that tubo that it's tapered at both ends.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The Perfecto tubo.
That's a pricey little cigar.
It is a pricey cigar. This is not. When he handed it to me, I said, "Man, thank you so much. We had a great conversation. It was so nice." So I told him I'd try it out on the show. So I'll text him this week and say, "Hey, man, you got to listen this weekend."
Yeah.
So anyway, so this is the La Aurora Diamond edition. This is the Diamond edition. It's a Perfecto. Comes in at 5x54 with a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, a Dominican Republic binder, Dominican and Nicaraguan filler, rich earthy brown wrapper, oily and toothy with some veins, single band, firm feel overall. Pre-light sniff on this chocolate and barnyard, sweet cappuccino, pepper. Pre-late draw. I used a V-cut. Had a late draw. Earthy and chocolate. Spicy and leathery on the lips. The initial light on this Dominican earth and bright pepper with toast.
Nice.
Retrohale is peppery and nutty. First third of the cigar, sweet toasted bread and fresh roasted nuts with a kiss of chocolate and earth, lingering spice and tingle on the lips. Retrohale's peppery and nutty with a touch of wood. Solid ash, perfect burn. Proposed pairing, Sam Smith's Nut Brown Ale.
Nice.
Would have gone. I wish I had one.
Beautiful. I love it.
Or like the Plantaray Jamaican rum, something with a little funk to it would have been really nice.
I had some of that this week. I had taken him a bottle after the last time that Docs was here, and it was one of the barrel pick select things. Oh my
So
God,
good.
it like blew my mind.
I just finished my Land Selection 12. I think that was the fastest bottle I've ever had in the collection that went. It was
I'll have a little bit here,
I think
a little bit here, a
the
little
fastest
bit there.
the fastest bottles that I have are actually the ones that I bring on the show.
Yeah.
And like by the end of the show, I remember I said to Ian, "You go ahead and finish it" last week because there was like one
There's a
pour
sip
left. Yeah.
So the second third of the cigar, sweet and toasty and nutty, spicy, earthy and woody, massive plumes of rich smoke, perfect for smoke rings, medium to full strength with a sweet and slightly spicy lingering aftertaste. The retro ale is nutty and spicy and woody. Solid ash, perfect burn. Last third of the cigar, strength ramps up a touch. Woody notes move forward. Retro ale is sweet and nutty with a touch of pepper. Solid ash, perfect burn. Price to quality at $25.
25.
I give it a 5. It was really good.
Nice. We will be right back. I'll tell you about mine coming up at Smoking and Toasting. I love that sound. See, here on Smoking and Toasting, we did not buy a sound effects library.
No.
All sound effects that you hear are performed live here on Smoking and Toasting.
That was a beer sacrifice that we just.
That's right, and we feel that it's worth it. For
And
the
there's no beer left behind, so we are gonna.
Authenticity, yes.
Actually, we have left beer behind. Sometimes we've had some pretty bad beers.
Yeah, well, and they deserve to be left behind. So that's just how it happens.
It's not always, and it's not often.
Yeah, that's right. People accuse us sometimes of liking everything on the show. It's like, well, generally we try to buy beers we think we're going to like.
Yeah.
Every now and then it doesn't.
I mean, the
work
only
out.
thing I buy that I go, man, Cruz is gonna hate this is Malort.
I still
spend
can't
money
believe
on that.
you actually pay. You actually spend money on Malort. So let me tell you about a cigar I spent some money on this week. It was the Espinosa Knuckle Sandwich Maduro Robusto J.
That's
not
a
sure
lot.
not sure what the J stands for. Maybe it stands for J from AJ. Oh, before I get into my cigar review, I just have to ask us to take, and I'm very serious about this, we need to take a moment of silence.
Yeah.
Because a very sad thing happened this week. I appreciate the moment of silence. I don't want to stretch it out too far. And I'm really in mourning about this because there was a big fire at the A.J. Fernandez factory in Nicaragua.
Yeah.
And it consumed millions of cigars. And I'm thinking about this millions of cigars I will never get to try. Yeah, and it's a very sad thing.
A.J. Fernandez.
I'm an AJ fanboy. He does. Not only does he do his own lines of cigars that are great, but he does cigars for almost everybody. Like almost every cigar line has an AJ blend in it somewhere.
And it's fantastic.
And yeah, he's just quality. So I'm really, really bummed about this, and I hope that, there were lots of other cigars on the property somewhere else that were saved. We can only hope.
Yeah, we're sorry about that, AJ.
Only hope. Millions of cigars. That's sad.
Oh, yeah, and we hope the workers are okay, too.
Well, yeah, there's that. Yeah. There weren't any reported injuries
just
other
kidding.
than
Yeah, of
millions
course,
of cigars.
No, yeah, that
so
was
I'm
the
still
worst.
in mourning.
Yeah.
But back to the Espinosa Knuckle Sandwich Maduro. I had the Robusto, and this cigar is the result of a collaboration between cigar legend Eric Espinosa and the foodie and spiky-haired TV chef Guy Fieri. And also the legendary San Lotano factory of A.J. Fernandez in Nicaragua. Cigar uses an Ecuadorian Sumatra Maduro wrapper over all Nicaraguan binder and fillers. Beautiful appearance, as you'll see in this photo here. Box pressed, nice and oily, with an awesome band and a red ribbon footer, which, by the way, was the only thing. I'll just give this away now. That footer was the only thing I didn't like about the cigar. I don't like those ribbon footers. They're hard to take off. You can try sneaking them down and pulling just a piece, at a time, or you can try getting the tape that's on them. But it's always excruciating.
You don't carry a pocket knife, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But maybe I should. Anyway, deep, earthy barnyard notes, hints of leather and oak on the pre-light. First impressions after I sparked it up were very promising. Nice complexity from the get-go, and initial notes of pepper, chocolate, and a kind of a savory meatiness that balanced with the chocolate sweetness and sort of an awesome initial dance of flavors. The flavors morphed and changed beautifully as I worked my way into the second third, while the burn stayed razor straight, which you should see in the accompanying photos if you're watching the video. Espresso and chocolate took center stage, then gave way to black pepper, then a creamy maltiness, and then the char from a sizzling steak. My favorite part of the steak is that char. Love it. The balancing of savory and sweet seemed to be the hallmark of the tobacco's flavor in the knuckle sandwich, Maduro Robusto. As I hit the final third, I found myself wishing that I'd smoked a Toro size so I could enjoy it for a bit longer.
Nice.
There was a pleasant peppery tang that the cigar left on the palate and a smoky, meaty note on the retrohale. Final third finished in grand fashion with cacao, Maduro sweetness, salty, savory grilled meats, and leather.
That sounds so good.
The complexity was off the charts, and the strength started out in the medium range, hit medium to full almost immediately, and finished out as an all-out, full-bodied smoke. You guys, this cigar was really good. It was easily one of the best cigars that I have smoked this year. I don't really watch Guy Fieri's Diners and Drive-In show, but I'm not a hater, and I do enjoy the mezcal and tequila that he and Sammy Hagar do together. And while I'm generally suspicious of celebrity cigar lines, fact is, this one rocks. The Robusto size of the Espinosa Knuckle Sandwich Maduro sells for about $12 to $13 for a Robusto. You know what? It's worth every penny and then some. I'm excited to try the Toro size of this blend. It is now on my cigar bucket list, right next to the $100 Rocky Patel cigar that I'm pretty sure Ian's planning to buy me for Christmas this year.
He told me he was going to.
Absolutely recommended for fans of stronger cigars. The Espinosa Knuckle Sandwich Maduro Robusto J, price to quality at $12 to $13, a 6.5.
Nice. For those of you joining us who don't know the price to quality scale, this is a scale of 1 to 10. And if you get a 5 on this scale, you get exactly what you pay for. It is price to quality.
Right.
So sometimes, even a great cigar.
So you had a $25 cigar today.
Yes, I did.
Or that you talked about today.
Yes, I did.
And you gave it a 5, which means you're saying it was worth
$25.
every one of those $25.
Yes, it was. And I'll tell you, I waffled on that just a slight bit. And then I realized that I smoked that thing. It was small. It was 5 by 54, right? It wasn't a big cigar. But I smoked it for a solid hour.
Nice.
And so even though it was a small cigar, it smoked cool, it smoked delicious, it smoked for a solid hour. So it bumped it back up from a 4 to a 4.5, back up to a 5. I was like, this is as good as any. I have to look at it versus like what's amazing in that price point, like the Plasencia Almafuerte.
Right. Which is a great cigar.
Is so good at that price point, and it was that kind of good.
All right. I love it. Absolutely. You know what makes a cigar like that even better? It's when somebody gives you one at the cigar shop.
Yes, and then at that price, it was
fantastic.
It's way off the chart.
It's a
Thank
38.
you, Javier. Yes.
I'm glad to hear that Guy Fieri's cigar does taste good because, even though he may not be the biggest celebrity in the world that has a cigar, or it's always nice to know that the guy who goes and tastes things for a living does get it right.
Well, there's a lot of Guy Fieri haters. I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily a fan, though. I just
me neither.
I just don't have an issue with him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I'm glad to know that at least he's not just slapping his name on something that's I
kind of like that he's willing to go to the diners and drive-ins and the dives and stuff. I think that's pretty cool because a lot of food
been to quite
critics,
a few here in Houston.
Yeah, a lot of
places that I go regularly.
Yeah, a lot of food critics though are a little too pinky in the air to try something like that. All right, let's see how pinky in the air we can be with a little San Francisco brewed Wundergarten. It's a German Pilsner.
This beer contains live fermented culture.
Oh.
Culture.
Well, San Francisco's a very cultural city.
Discover a hoppy garden of aromatic noble hops and craft malts. This wonderful German Pilsner is in full bloom. It is actually really nice. It's a good beer.
I will go on record as saying I've tried maybe half a dozen different IPAs from this brewery, and I've loved them all. So I've always considered them kind of an IPA-centric brewery. It's which is why when I found this, I was really excited to try something else from them. And I know you're a fan of the German Pilsner, so
this is really nice. Coming in at 5.1, so it's pretty crushable. It's also very approachable. I think
it's got a lot of flavor that I wouldn't normally associate with the German Pilsner. A little fruitiness to it.
Yeah, there's a little fruity and a little malty up front. That's a little, even a little maltier than most Pilsners, I would say. But it also finishes with that wonderful hop snap and a little slight astringency that makes you want a little bit.
The Doritos effect is what we call it. Yeah, go ahead and drink it. We'll make more.
There's a little sweetness to it as well that I really enjoy that happens right in the middle of the palate.
A little fruitiness, even like some sort of green apple in there somewhere is what I'm picking up.
Really good. This would be
like
if
Bare Bottle Brewing, San Francisco.
If this was available like near me, I would be getting this all the time.
I will say, by the way, that when we first started having Bare Bottle brews on the show, they were in bottles. They had it wasn't a 12 ounce. It was bigger than that, but it wasn't a 16. But it was just they had these really cool bottles. And over time, as so many breweries have transitioned to cans, I wondered if they would change their name because it is a little weird for it to be Bare Bottle Brewing, but Bare Can just didn't sound the same. I think that's what I had an uncle who said, "Hey, put this out there with the Bear Cans."
Bear Can.
So yeah, I don't think it would be nearly as eloquent of a.
Well, I think the cans became a little less expensive to use, and then also cans are kind of a guaranteed no sunlight,
light poisoning. If you're drinking beer out of green bottles, unless you know that it's fresh, chances are really good that just daylight has done some damage to that beer.
Yeah, that funky little taste that you get when you drink it. That's skunk. That's what we call it.
And that's what happens. Brown bottles are better.
You want to know what's funny? There's a distinctive taste difference between Heineken and Heineken. Go buy Heineken in one of those little mini kegs.
Yeah,
it's good beer.
Now, what about if I get a Heineken like on tap at a bar?
On tap, it's good beer.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have to.
Although I feel like they kind of had to change their beer profile a little bit to give it a little of that skunky flavor
because that's what people were expecting from a Heineken. That's actually fascinating.
I could be completely wrong on that.
Yeah.
Heineken, don't sue me.
It's just some speculation.
I will tell you, one of the worst beers I've ever had in my life is Heineken Light.
Yeah,
I mean, it's bad.
Worst beer I've ever had that I can think of off the top of my head was in a green bottle. It was that Dos Equis Mexican
the
lager.
Heineken Light's very much like that. It's not good.
I'm not having it.
This, however, Wonder Beer is.
Terry, we have time for the drinking fact?
Oh yeah, sure we do.
Let's do this then. Terry Michaels on the announcer microphone, ladies and gentlemen.
And now, where's my
your reverb?
sound effects? Where's my effects? Are they not in there? Hello, effects.
Oh, see, somebody messed with the board.
Somebody messed with the board and messed with my effects.
All right, so I'll just echo you. Go ahead and say it.
And now it's time for another Smoking and Toasting, Drinking Facts.
See, as bad as that was, the fanfare just makes it all right.
The fanfare fixes it all. It doesn't matter.
Minimum legal drinking ages vary around the world. And while many countries hold the legal age to be 21, some countries have the legal drinking age of only 15 years old. Mali and the Central African Republic. The country of, and I should have gone there when I was a kid, Burkina Faso.
It's easy
Are you
for you
familiar?
to say.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Burkina Faso?
No. I feel like there's going to be a lot of flights there soon.
Is that the country
Senior skip day.
Is that the country that the government tariffed and it's populated only by penguins? Did you hear about that? One of the tariffs that were levied on a country, there's no humans that live there, only penguins.
The penguins were just horribly mad.
Yeah. Oh, they're so
Also
mad. They're retaliating with tariffs even as we speak. The country of Burkina Faso allows on-premise drinking at 13.
Ooh, on-premise drinking.
On-premise, yeah.
Wow.
So it means a 13-year-old can go to a bar and drink, but probably can't buy it and take it home.
Wow. But probably can't buy it. They have to have some sort of,
By the way,
laws.
we're not saying any of this is good. It's just interesting.
True. It's a fact. It's just about being a fact.
Drinking facts.
Drinking fact.
Yeah. How old were you when you had your first beer?
I remember my dad always had a beer in the evening, so I had sips of his beer every once in a while.
Yeah. Did you like it as a kid?
I don't know that I did.
Yeah.
Of course, Dad was giving me a sip of his beer, so I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
But it was probably like Schlitz or something, and it wasn't really that good.
I think he was drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon a lot of times, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, even my kids, when they come around whatever I'm drinking, especially alcohol or something, my daughters will be like, can I have a sip? And I'll say, oh, here, and I'll pop the bottle and she'll, what is that? Oh, my goodness. Oh, no, that's, okay, I don't want any of that.
My saddest beer story is when I moved to Los Angeles with no job, and I was just barely scraping by, and I had to downgrade my beer selection because I couldn't afford anything. And for like 6 months, the only beer I drank was Keystone Light.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It didn't taste bad. It just didn't taste at all.
You should have gone to this other country.
My brew club has an occasional what we call an 80s night.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where everyone brings 2 40 ounces.
Yeah. And that makes 80.
Well, this is 80s
You
now.
know what? There you go.
I achieved fanfare.
That gets that.
I think the
Because
fanfare.
the theory is you gotta know bad beer to know good beer. Like if you don't know what bad beer is, you might just be drinking bad beer and accept it.
That's true.
That's
a good point.
But you have to try good beer and bad beer to know which one's which.
Yeah, and it's kind of like that with spirits too. If you've never had Malort, you can't really appreciate a Glenmorangie 12. Not in the same way. Is just what I'm saying. All right, we got to take a break. We're having good beers on the show today. The show beer is fantastic. This bear bottle Wundergarten is fantastic. And before we get too much further into the program, we'll be trying something from Humble Sea Brewing out of Santa Cruz, California. It is their double dry hopped West Coast IPA called Kookasaurus. Think about that. We'll be right back. Yes. Welcome back. It is Smoking and Toasting. Our show is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Show number 427 is underway here. And, we talked in the previous segment about the fire at the A.J. Fernandez cigar factory and how millions of cigars were lost. But can you imagine how great it smelled in Nicaragua for a while? They'd be like, oh.
I have to say that's a little bit different than like what we're used to when a chemical plant explodes over in Channelview.
Tire fire.
Tire fire over here.
It's like I have a convertible and I love driving it, but I put the top up when I roll through Pasadena. It's just you just have to.
They have to clear the area. I bet they didn't have to clear the area. Everybody could just stand around. Enjoy.
Stand around and enjoy. We are doing Smoking and Toasting. Our program's all about, as I said, craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And speaking of hand-rolled cigars, Ian, you handed me a couple here that have ties to an upcoming episode of the show. Is that right?
So these are La Sigua cigars.
Yeah, they're actually look quite nice here.
And so we were talking
I've not
with
had them.
Mark from La Sigua. He reached out to us because we're on the radio in his area in North Carolina. And he reached out to us mentioning that he owns a cigar company, and they're the first El Salvador cigar company.
Oh, so they use El Salvadoran tobacco, or at least they're rolled in El Salvador.
And made in El Salvador. So we got to chat, and he said he'd send us some. So these are for us to try. And then we'll have him on the show via Zoom in 2 more weeks.
Cool. I look forward to that.
Yeah, I'm super looking
And I
forward
look
to that.
forward
But
to
he sent
trying
those
these
their
smokes,
emblem.
too.
I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. There's a
he sent those
volcano in the
to
and the band.
try.
there.
So yeah, El Salvador cigars
Cool.
called La Sigua.
La Sigua.
So if
I
you get a
look-
chance
look
to check
forward to
those
that.
out, I don't know that they're
sure.
out in full production yet, but he's definitely got some test batches out. And
And he's in North Carolina?
it's pretty exciting, right?
Cool. Well, it is very exciting. I love all these little, boutique, small batch cigar companies because some of
It's
them are
gotta start
making
somewhere.
some of them are making some of the cigars that have influenced the whole industry.
Oh, I mean,
to start moving in a particular direction. Sure,
Studios,
yeah, absolutely.
Warped, like some of these
Warped,
companies
yeah.
are so good.
Absolutely. So looking forward to that. All right, Ian, you've already poured our beer for this segment. This is one that comes to us from a brewery in Santa Cruz, California, which, by the way, I love Santa Cruz. When my wife and I got married, we got married in San Francisco, spent the first night of the honeymoon in San Francisco, spent the second night of the honeymoon in Santa Cruz, and it's a beautiful place. And we had rented a convertible for the thing because we were driving from San Francisco down to Los Angeles.
I've done the PCH.
And I remember the weather was so beautiful. We just found a parking spot where I could hear and see the waves rolling in and sat with the convertible top down, smoked a cigar. It was just one of the most awesome experiences. It was really the second most awesome experience of the whole honeymoon for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first was the wedding, of course.
Yeah. Well, the wedding night. Yes, absolutely. No, it was an awesome trip, and just love Santa
are you
Cruz.
blushing?
I am. But I love Santa Cruz. A lot of great things to check out there. And Humble Sea Brewing Company. I did not go there when I was there, but next time I'm back, I may, because we're trying one of their beers right now.
Kookasaurus.
So this is a West Coast IPA, but it's double dry hopped. So double dry hopped has a tendency to bring you a little more of that haziness, a little more of that fruitiness. But West Coast has a tendency to be a little more in the hop forward thing.
This
So I'm
is
interested to see how
definitely
this
hop
goes.
forward.
Yeah.
Like I already took a sip, but it is like it is right up front.
But
Buddy.
it's creamy though.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the double dry hop. I think if I understand what that process does to the beer correctly, I think this is really good.
It's there's a little lingering aftertaste that I think is a little much, but overall I think it's pretty good beer.
Let me see the Hoposaurus dude on the front
The
there.
Hoposaurus is pretty awesome. He's got a little hat on.
Oh, he's the Kookasaurus.
the Kookasaurus.
So there is the Kookasaurus. So Humble Sea, this is the first beer we've had from these guys. And
The Kookasaurus, I don't know. He just looks like a character from Peppa Pig.
yeah.
He does, doesn't he?
And Daddy Pig saw the Kookasaurus today.
You can always tell which ones of us on the program have young kids, and that would be Terry.
Yeah,
Any Peppa Pig reference is probably going to come from
that's
you.
right. Yeah, that's
So,
right.
Peppa Pig's a bit. Correct me if I'm wrong. Peppa Pig's a bit. She's got a bit of an attitude, right?
Well, she does, but I mean, she's good. It's the big thing with Peppa Pig right now is that Mommy Pig is going to be having another baby.
Oh.
And that's the hugest thing for kids that are like under
Is this a
5
scoop?
right now.
Are we giving a Peppa Pig scoop
it's
here
been
on the
out for a
program?
couple weeks now, but it's
Okay.
a big deal on Peppa
wow.
Pig.
Listen, man, we talk about the tough, serious issues. This is not just cigars and booze.
That's
right.
right.
It's also Peppa Pig.
talk
We're
Peppa
addressing issues of the world.
See, when I was a kid, there was no Peppa Pig, but we had the new zoo review. The new zoo review coming right at you. It was back in the 70s when every and it wasn't animated. It was like,
things like
big
things
stuff,
like
Muffin stuff.
big stuff,
things like
right, puffin
safety
stuff,
and
yeah.
PC
Right.
culture were just
Right.
not invented yet.
But what was cool about it is anytime you had like big, puppet costume, like puffin stuff, and they always had to have some cool hipster teenagers, like
Yes.
a long-haired guy with the hair like to his shoulders, who is like really cool,
Yes.
and then his sidekick girl, and that was what they had
Groovy.
with.
They were groovy, man.
That was what the new zoo review had.
Yeah.
It was. Emmy, Joe, and Frank, or I don't remember. Anyway, Fred, I don't know. But they had the.
I was watching the Electric Company in the 70s.
The Electric Company was cool.
The
yeah,
Banana
Electric Company was
Splits.
pretty cool.
The banana
The
splits.
banana splits.
Oh my God, Nicolas Cage, rescue us, please. So this beer, Ian, what's your take? I'm the
this beer
IPA
has
guy.
led us to the banana splits.
I'm the IPA guy. I love this. What's your take? You're not the IPA guy.
This is drinkable. It's not my favorite, but it's drinkable. I like it in that it's
Terry, your take?
No, it's a good beer. It's an interesting beer. I mean, it does have that very hop forward flavor to it.
Yeah, for sure.
But you're right, it's creamy and it has a creamy deliciousness to it.
What I like about it is that
I like this until the aftertaste hits me. I like everything about it. Even the swallow is really nice because
really
it's got
crisp,
and it's got the right amount of there's an art to having the right amount of carbonation to it. Too. This is perfect in all those categories.
What I love about this is that as much as I love the hazy and juicy IPAs and they really have a tendency to be my favorite, this reminds me that it's supposed to be an IPA.
And also that it's not just orange juice.
Right, exactly. And I kind of dig that. It's like you took my favorite hazy and combined it with the St. Arnold Alyssa. So
double dry hopped with Cashmere, Mosaic, and Nelson.
We'll think about that and be right back with hour 2 of Smoking and Toasting and Drinking News is on the way. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And it occurs to me that...
and George Carlin quotes.
Which we were giving a good one during the...
Which we can't say on...
Which, unfortunately. Yeah, that's exactly what we were doing. It occurs to me that we're already into the second hour of the show, and I haven't mentioned the show's title. The show's title is, and we will get to that in this hour of the show, how to make Frank Sinatra's favorite cocktail. Now, Frank Sinatra's... I don't care what you like. Sinatra's one of the coolest people who ever lived. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He just was.
Yeah.
He was just the coolest. And he loved his cocktails.
Yeah.
And we'll tell you how to make his favorite one, and it's really easy.
There's
and you can
apparently
make it at
a
home.
story about him, and this is just the abbreviated version, but there is a story about him, and I can't remember who he grabbed, one of like the Dean Martins, and they came to Houston back when like Cooley and DeBakey were inventing heart stuff, and they were going to get their hearts checked for something, and instead they just did a bunch of drinking and let's say
with
nose entertainment, and so they did a bunch of that, and when they left, whoever it was with him said, "Hey, we never went to the doctor," and he was like, "If our hearts manage that, we're fine."
What I consider to be the single greatest opening line of any live album ever recorded is Sinatra Live at the Sands, which is a great album all the way through, by the way. But the band starts playing, and the band pumps up. The guy intros, and the great voice is Frank Sinatra, and the audience goes crazy cheering. Sinatra comes out. First thing he says is, "How do all you people get in my room?" Best first line of a live album ever. Will never be topped, in my opinion. Our program is actually all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. We will get to Frank Sinatra's favorite cocktail. But first, as Ian is pouring the most excellent show beer of all time, this is
from Guadalupe
Brewing Company, New Braunfels, Texas. Ian brought back a growler of this. What is it called again?
This is the Show de Bola. It's brewed with pineapple.
It's brewed with love.
What did I say? Pineapple and
I don't know. Apple. It's like some sort of
it's
apple.
really good.
Honestly,
it's really...
I if you just told me that, my hopes wouldn't be that high. Like pineapple and beer isn't necessary. It's kind of like pineapple and pizza. Like, yeah, I'll eat it, but it's not what I'm going to order.
Right?
Give me some good old pepperoni and Italian sausage.
See, pineapple pizza. I won't even eat that. I'm like, no, thank you.
Depends how hungry I am. But this beer is great.
This is honey ale with pineapple and cinnamon.
You definitely get the cinnamon.
Honey ale.
You definitely get the honey, and the pineapple's like a distant third.
Let me put it this way.
Really.
The next one on the list is the Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
I didn't get that, which I usually love.
Yeah.
I got this because this is so darn good.
It really is. And thank you for your contribution to the show today. I appreciate it. Speaking of contribution, you also contributed the whiskey to today's show.
Boy, did I.
And from what I understand, this first whiskey is not at all inexpensive.
So this is the Old Grandad 16.
Oh, we shot to the top immediately.
When I think of Old Grandad, I think of less expensive whiskey.
Right. So you used to probably... So they make an Old Grandad that's just Old Grandad Kentucky bourbon. But they also make the bonded. This is what I always get is the bonded version. It comes in at 100 proof. It's a little bit nicer, a little bit elevated over the other one. And then if you want to go, well, this one goes to 114. Yeah. You get the old Grandad 114. Now, I brought both of those bottles today so we could try them compared to this. This is the old Grandad 16 year coming in at 100 proof. High rye mash bill.
I was trying to think if I had any whiskey that I had 3 different expressions in my bar at home. And the only one I can think of off the top of my head is Glenmorangie.
Oh, do you?
I think I have several different expressions of Glenmorangie.
Well, keep in mind, too, that while the old Grandad 16 is $150 for a bottle,
right,
the other two are in the $20 range per bottle.
We will do a side-by-side on this later in the show. But first, let's just talk about the 16. This is a $150 bottle of whiskey.
This very old Grandad expression, aged a minimum of 16 years, pays homage to the brand's legacy as one of the industry's preeminent whiskeys of its time. Historically inspired by vintage releases, this fine bourbon is cut to 100 proof to reach its optimal and distinctively classic OGD flavor and body.
Well, I'm about to pay homage to it right now. This is freaking delicious.
It is amazing,
good, right?
Wow. So when I think of a $150 spirit, my mind immediately goes to my absolute favorite tequila, which is in the neighborhood of $150 a bottle now, which is the Jose Cuervo Reserva de la Familia, the extra añejo. And I got to say, this is in that category.
The aftertaste on this, I love that it keeps going. There's an almost immediate whiskey hug to it. There's no delay in it. But the aftertaste on this lingers, and it's delicious. It's kind of a complex aftertaste.
There's a bit of I started to say maple. I don't know if maple's the right word. There's some darker.
There's a little maple, and there's definitely like a molassesy kind of darker sweet thing. But also, if you do a gentle retrohale, there's bubblegum.
I was just about to say bubblegum.
Cinnamon bubblegum.
Yeah, I was just about to say bubblegum on the retrohale for sure. That is, and it's so pleasant. Like, you know, if you just say bubblegum, like out of context, you might think, well, who would want that? But it's wonderful.
We're talking about the classic bubblegum that comes out of a baseball card package.
Totally. That has
is a
the
little
sugary,
too hard.
That has the sugary coating on it.
That's right. And has the powdery, sugary stuff that gets all over your fingers. That's about as classic bubblegum as you get right there.
Yeah. And then you like you look at the package, you're like, okay, the bubblegum is hard and crackly, and you turn the card over and you're like, oh man, Roger Clemens again. That dude.
Roger Clemens again.
I wanted Pete Rose.
Yeah. I'll take the guy who gambled on sports over freaking Roger Clemens. Come on. But I digress. This is absolutely wonderful.
So the question is it $150?
Is it worth $150? What do you think?
Delicious. Well, I mean, I would submit us to try the other two expressions that are in the $20 range.
Well, what makes it
and there's nothing in between it, by the way. You go old Grandad 114, and it just goes right up to bam.
Yeah, it does. Like, what makes it 150? What is
question.
it? What's costing
16
them
years
so
old.
much? Is that it? The aging process?
Yeah, the aging. I mean, because every year you let whiskey sit, you're not making money on it.
Yeah.
And you're losing whiskey. You're getting the angel share. So some of that's, evaporating from the barrel.
Yeah, and the longer you have it sitting
I understand they do that with whiskey. I'm glad they don't do it on apartments. Yeah, this one used to be $400 a month, but it's been vacant for a couple of years. So it's $1,500 now.
Also, 2 rooms have evaporated off of it.
They call that the angel share.
Oh, y'all live where I live.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's really good. The $150 question, though, is a tough one.
It is a tough one.
Would I take this over the Reserva de la Familia from Jose Cuervo? Would I take this over a little book, which might be $110?
Booker's is $100, right?
Right.
It's $99 usually when you can find it. And how good is that? Well, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about stuff that you can grab off the shelf. I'm not talking about like highly allocated stuff. Right?
Sure.
Is this pretty easy to find at $150? I mean, is this something I can go out right now?
I'm pretty sure you can walk. Yeah, since they released it, they released a lot of it.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not.
So I think you can find it like in most big liquor stores now. They didn't immediately sell out of it like they do on some things. But next to other stuff that you can buy for $150, like the cigar vault.
Well, Angel's Envy is about $80 or something like that.
And my only question is, and I'm not sad that I bought it because I'm glad for the experience, but my only question is it $150 worth?
So
you shouldn't.
So
be
this is
sad that you
interesting
bought
because
it.
I just Googled it, and Google will bring up the different places you can buy things online. I'm seeing prices ranging from $164.99 to $259
Speaking
for
of
old
which,
Grandad 16 year.
This weekend I went out to New Braunfels areas, and I stopped at a liquor store to grab. I was just going to grab a bottle of Weller or Buffalo Trace or something, just to bring up to my buddy's house that I was going to visit. And I stopped in this little mom and pop's liquor store. They had Buffalo Trace. And they had Weller, and they had Blanton's, and they had all the allocated stuff.
Little mom and pop
Buffalo
shop.
Trace was $50 for $7.50.
Why?
They had everything marked as secondary. And I'm standing there looking at it, and the lady comes up to me. She's like, "Can I help you?" I was like, "You're charging $50 for Buffalo Trace?" "Well, it's allocated." I said, "So you're charging secondary for everything?" And she goes, "Well, people will just buy it and go make money on it." I said, "So you're ripping off your customers?"
Right.
"If you're going to rip off your very own customers, I don't want to be one." And I walked out. I was
Nice.
incensed.
Nice. I don't blame you.
Buffalo Trace for $50?
Yeah.
First of
You are
all,
off
I
your
can buy
rocker.
Buffalo Trace at Specs for $28.
That's right.
It's
And
worth
it's
every
not-
dollar of that, by the way.
And it's not that allocated. Like, it's not
No.
that hard to find. So I was incensed that
No,
they
there's
had it back there like that.
there's
That is
probably
price
15
gouging.
bottles on the shelf at my Specs where I usually shop.
And then I went down the road, and there was a place called Twin Liquors, and they're a pretty good sized chain, and they had it. They had a bottle of Weller right there, and guess what? That Weller for the big bottle, not the 750, but the 1 liter, was $35 instead of $75 like the other place.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's
Yeah, just because your mom and pop doesn't mean you ain't gouging.
yeah.
I think it's reprehensible that they're gouging from their own customers. Like, I don't
think
want to
so,
be
too.
their customer. If
No.
you're going to rip off your own
The
customers,
best thing you did was to walk out.
if you're
best
going
thing
to
you
rip
did,
off your own customers, man,
Yeah,
come on.
exactly.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe they're not educated, or it's just people that are going through there and passing through. Maybe there are businesses, people that are passing through than people that live there.
Do what every other mom and pop's place does. You find the customers that spend a lot of money there, stick that stuff under the counter, and sell it to them when they come.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Take care of your best customers.
I
That's the way
respect
to do
that.
it. Yeah, I know there's cigar shops that do that. They get something limited that comes in, they'll stick one aside for some of their better customers to come in and spend a lot of money with them. It's like, here, I
But
saved
see,
you
they
one of
could have
these.
made money from me,
Yes,
but they didn't
right.
because of that.
And I hope
They made
more
zero.
people make the decision you made and go to a place that prices it fairly instead of a place that says, yeah, because you could pay, $60 for this on the secondary market, I'm going to price it at $60.
Yeah, and I could have easily gone, you know what, I'll get a George Dickel or a Wild Turkey or something else I really enjoy that wasn't allocated and put on a shelf, but I'm just
then
not
you'd be
going to give them
supporting
money.
them.
Yeah, I'm
Then
just
you'd
not
be
gonna give them
supporting
money.
them.
And I
Yep.
told them very distinctly why.
100%. 100%. All right. We have just a moment in this
The
segment.
more I drink this, there is something special about it. I will have to say. I don't know what.
So when you
how
say
to
the more
describe
you
that.
drink it,
the more.
what do you mean
you've already.
by,
you've already beat me. You beat me on that one. Yeah, but the more I have had here, the more I've just continued to sip on it. There is just something very special about it.
I would feel bad about taking more of Ian's $150 bottle of Old Grandad here, except the last 3 bottles I brought on the show, I've taken home empty. So that's just the way it has gone. So, and you know what? I'm okay with that.
Hey, bottle kill is fine.
Bottle kill. Speaking of which, it is on you now to come up with our new our new song for Smoking and Toasting,
Yes,
the Bottle Kill Blues.
Bottle Kill Blues.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I got the Bottle Kill Blues.
You're already writing it. You're doing my work for me.
That bottle's on a shelf. It's better than an elf. We'll be right back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back at Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. During the break, by the way, Ian informed me that he had written the melody, at least, for the...
No, I got the music for it.
You got the music for the Bottle Kill Blues. Do you want to share or do you want to wait?
No, wait. I'll present the whole thing once.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. I got the Bottle Kill Blues. I am very excited about it. So we promised you that we would tell you about Frank Sinatra's favorite cocktail and how to make it. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to do a little side-by-side comparison with this Old Grandad 16 and a couple of less expensive Old Grandad expressions. So in order, I know this is 16, and then the first one that we passed on was what?
So this is the bonded.
Okay, so the
And this
bonded
is
is
the
the one in
114.
your right hand, Terry.
Bonded, okay.
Hold
And
it
the
up.
114.
Bonded's slightly darker than the. I'm sorry, the 114 is slightly darker than the bonded.
Yeah, I think the bonded's in your right hand, and the 114 is in your left. There, Terry.
I think you got that backwards.
Frank Sinatra's favorite cocktail, and Frank loved his booze. His favorite cocktail was the Rusty Nail, and the Rusty Nail uses basically just two ingredients. It's kind of like Ian's favorite cocktail is two ingredients, which is
Whiskey
and a
ice.
cube of ice, right?
Yes.
The Rusty Nail uses Scotch whiskey and
All right,
Drambuie.
Starting out good. I'm not sure about the Drambuie.
Drambuie is a honey-sweetened herbal liqueur made with a base of blended Scotch. Now, according to foodandwine.com, here's why the Rusty Nail works. Drambuie uses a blend of Scotch whiskeys as the base for its heather honey-sweetened liqueur, flavored with a proprietary mix of herbs and spices, has a big flavor profile, and a little bit of it goes a long way. The classic build for a Rusty Nail is equal parts Scotch whiskey and Drambuie. Now, they say, though, that might render the drink too sweet for many. So their recipe that they offer at Food and Wine pulls back a little on the liqueur so the whiskey can shine and the herbaceous flavors of the Drambuie can come through. So they say use 2 ounces of your favorite Scotch whiskey and a half ounce of Drambuie.
But is that the way that Sinatra liked it? Or
I think
did he
so.
like it? He liked a little less Drambuie in it. Okay.
Frank loved his whiskey.
Yeah, I thought he just
So,
liked
yeah.
Jack Daniels, and that was just
See, my
Jack
thought
and
would be
Coke.
to start with 2 ounces of Scotch, and then add an equal part of more Scotch.
Yeah,
Right.
I knew you were going.
Well, it's kind
And
of like
then take the Drambuie and hand it to somebody else.
How many times have I seen Ian
Right.
just, we're going to pour more on that?
There's Ice Cube is a little
Listen,
too large.
my 4
my
fingers
Scotch
of whiskey
bottle.
technique.
Yeah.
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 Well, it's kind of like when I make tequila drinks. Like if you're looking at the recipe for a margarita and it calls for 1 part tequila, 1 part, all the other, maybe you use a mix, maybe you do the lime and all that stuff yourself, and then 1 part Contra or whatever. I go 3 parts tequila, 1 part Contra, 1 part of everything else, and that makes a good margarita. I'm serious. And I make margaritas at home a lot, and I've noticed that my wife now, when we go out, if she orders a margarita, she has to order a double, or else like double tequila,
yeah.
or else
She's not used
it's
to it.
or else
sweet.
it's like this is too lame.
So we were at this little Mexican restaurant right up the road from our house that we discovered, and I didn't know you could. This has eluded me all my life. I didn't know you could order a margarita that's half and half,
Oh.
like half unfrozen, half frozen. Because then the ice for your margarita is more margarita.
Oh,
I
nice.
love this idea.
I mean,
That's
come
great.
on.
Great
I
idea.
love this idea. I'm
Wow.
ordering that next time I'm doing
Dude,
Mexican food.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
For
I was
sure.
like-
All right, so let's do a little side by side on Old Grandad now. The first thing that you poured is, I have to say, it was quite good. We were a little mixed on whether it was $150 good, but we definitely thought it was good.
Yeah, it's delicious. It's
The old
100%
Grandad
is
16.
delicious. So now we have the old Grandad Bonded. Now, if you're wondering which one's which, the old Grandad Bonded, if you hold up the 114 and the Bonded, you'll notice the 114 is a little bit darker. So this one here is the Bonded.
All right.
And that's
so the 114. So we going bonded
So for
first
you,
or 114?
this is Bonded.
All right. So which one are we going with first?
We'll just go with Bonded, I think. Go with this the straight up. This is, you find this everywhere. Old Grandad Bonded, 100 proof.
And this retails for what?
This retails like $22. or something.
$22. Okay.
Okay, can I actually just say that there's a lot of similarities between this and the $150 bottle to me?
The
You're
core
right.
of it's the same. It's so
Yeah.
when I take a sip of this, this is one of my dailies. You know, this is one of those that I just
I love how he didn't say regular.
Yeah.
He said daily.
Dailies, yeah, dailies.
Yep.
so this is a bit of a cinnamon bomb.
Yes, it is. And I like that. By
It's
the way.
not as complex as the 16 year by any means,
Yeah.
but it's a bit of a cinnamon bomb. It doesn't have that dark maple or that dark the
There's an
molassesy thing that
aftertaste
Right.
that doesn't.
It didn't have as much of the bubble gum.
yeah, right. But there's a little, but you can tell the pedigree is there. You can
And then,
tell
the,
it's
and then the 114. Okay, so how much is the 114?
114 is about $25.
Dude, that might be the winner. I'm not saying it's better than the 16, but I'm like saying 4 or 5 bottles of that versus one of the 16. I think
Yeah,
it wins.
I mean, I have to say they've done really good with keeping this all in a very, delicious area. There's not,
Yeah, and the 114 is just a bigger proof.
it's just fantastic is what it is.
Yeah, it's really good.
I get a little of that, aging and the oak, influence. I get a little bit of the bubblegum, maybe not as much as the 16 year.
So there's not many stores that I've gone into that don't have Old Grandad Bonded. If they have that, they almost always have the 114, but not always. The 114's sometimes, but you can always go with the
Fan of the 114. I mean, I get that the 16 is really good, but that 114, maybe
Yeah.
the best buy for the money out of the three.
It's bang for the buck, right? So that's and this is the reason why I question that 16. It's not that the 16 is not fantastic, because it really is great whiskey. It's that $150 versus
As much as I agree with you,
$25.
I may need to try all of these again.
I think
just
so.
to
make sure.
well,
to make sure.
I brought bottles, so
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll take a break and we'll be back. By the way, drinking news is next. Appropriate since I've got 3 Glencairns of whiskey in front of me. It's next. This is Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And we were talking during the break, and I want to come back to it just before we do drinking news. This side-by-side that we did with the old Grandad, kind of, I mean, you hate to frame it this way, but their base and less expensive spirits are so good that it almost like
it
kicks
almost
them in the
takes
foot,
away
right?
from the 16.
In a way, it
It's
does.
not. It's not a bad way to frame it. At least you're saying that their other ones are so good
Right.
that it makes their really good ones
At-
seem just regular. So
I mean, I truly believe if I hadn't tried Old Grandad and knew what it cost, if you poured me a dram and said, okay, put a price point on this, I probably would have put it at 50 or 60. Because it's that, or especially the 114, like it's just it's got a little more complexity.
That 114 is fantastic.
it is.
I think it is. Price to quality is my favorite of the bunch.
Yeah. Yeah.
The 16 is good though. I don't want to. I
There's
don't want
something
to.
amazing about it.
I don't want to say that it's not worth its money, except for the fact that those are so good at so much less.
There's something special about it. There's definitely something special about
Well,
it.
again, I'm not regretting the $150 I spent on it by any means, because I'm glad we had this to do this with. But I am at the same time looking at these and going, these are that kind of good, and they're so inexpensive.
So there's your lesson. For all you cheap bastards like me, go out and grab this 114 or this,
And the profile for Old Grandad for the bonded is not a complex profile. It's straight up Kentucky bourbon. It's a lot like a Wild Turkey in the fact that first off, it's a cinnamon bomb,
right,
and second off, its profile is Webster Dictionary classic Kentucky bourbon.
Yeah, it is for sure.
I mean, if you don't like this, you probably just don't like bourbon.
That is not a bad thing, by the way, to be straight ahead, right down the profile. Speaking of bad things, it's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the most popular feature on this program. God knows why. It's where we bring you a story from the news and maybe a little bit of commentary, and we swear to you this actually appeared in a news story somewhere, not a parody site like The Onion. It's time for Drinking News.
Drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. Florida man with one arm said he had a gator for a pet. When asked about his absent arm, he said,
I had to take my gator to the vet.
Drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. Drinking News is where we bring you a story from the news that is sometimes not always about drinking, but is always best enjoyed if you've been drinking. And if you've been doing side-by-sides on Old Grandad, it's even better. Well, before we get into our top story on Drinking News today, just a short commentary about the decline of our heroes in modern-day America. I mean, it's bad enough that we can't seem to trust our civic leaders and politicians, but now it may have become necessary to just give up on some of the only heroes that have seemed above reproach for so long. Because just when you thought it was okay to trust him, Batman has been arrested. And it's not the first time. This is actually Batman's third strike, and he's headed to jail after once again driving the Batmobile under the influence.
Oh, Wesley Willis has a song about Batman too.
Yes, it's quite good.
He
in a Wesley Willis sort of way.
Yes, talks about Batman driving him a little crazy. Also, I was heading into a Buc-ee's just yesterday, and there was a gentleman on his way out of the Buc-ee's. I said, man, I really liked your shirt because it had the Wesley Willis on the front. Mm-hmm. So anyway, there's your Wesley Willis for the day.
I love that. If you don't know who Wesley Willis is,
just have
fun on the internet. That's all I have to say.
Welcome to your own
rabbit hole. Yeah. Well, actually, the Batmobile, in the case of our story, turned out to be a pretty ordinary car. And the superhero in question is actually a 42-year-old northern Michigan man.
I'm Batman.
Named Jamal Roosevelt Batman.
When you say Michigan man, I kind of want to do like a Ted Nugent thing, but I didn't prep anything.
Well, think about that. You may have an opportunity to use it here. By the way, cops...
I'll get the bow and arrow ready.
42-year-old northern Michigan man Jamal Roosevelt Batman. Cops did find an open bottle of tequila in his car when they pulled him over.
All I can think about is that commercial that they have, instead of Batman, it's Bateman. And it's
that's
Bateman
great. I saw that this weekend.
Yeah, that's all I can think about while you're talking about this is Bateman.
This could be a great plot line for the next Batman movie. I mean, I'd love to see actor Michael Keaton take up the cowl once again and hear him identify himself to the officers who pull him over by combining both James Bond and Batman catchphrases when he says, I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
Jamal Roosevelt Batman.
I mean, if
you see what I did there, right?
Yes. Yes.
But that's not important right now, because our main story for today's Drinking News takes us back to familiar stomping grounds, because a Florida man was recently arrested in Palm Bay for trespassing at a shopping center while dressed as a clown. 40-year-old Christopher Marlowe.
Wait, we're on a Batman theme. Wouldn't it be dressed as the Joker?
Well, not exactly, because 40-year-old Christopher Marlowe, dressed in bright yellow, red, and white, in a Ronald McDonald costume, had to be subdued by police and wrestled to the ground after resisting officers who responded to a call for help from police. I mean, you know the story.
Yeah.
You're sitting at home, bored out of your mind, watching Kelly Clarkson interview magician David Blaine and saying riveting things like, ooh, I can do a card trick. Want to see it? And you think to yourself, you know what I should do? I should put on my Ronald McDonald costume and go hang out at the strip mall between the nail salon and Vinny's vape store and see what kind of trouble I can stir up.
Nobody will think that's creepy at all.
Yeah, not at all. But hey, nothing says a good time like scaring the bejesus out of little kids when they come out of the paycheck loan store with their moms and dads. I mean, seriously. Have you looked at a picture of Ronald McDonald? It's like Michael Jackson and Carrot Top had a baby.
Is that old Carrot Top or new Carrot Top?
Yeah. I mean, whoever thought that this would help McDonald's sell French fries to little kids? Okay, sorry. Kind of headed down a rabbit hole there. I apologize. But anyway,
your clown phobia is showing a little bit.
Cops arrested the Florida man for causing a disturbance and for trespassing and for felony resisting an officer with simple assault.
You know, now that you mention it, they don't use Ronald as much as they used to.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
And I think there's a reason for that.
Ronald McDonald is creepy.
I don't want to like get off on a rant here, but there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
As they were loading this man into the back of the police cruiser, one of the arresting officers couldn't help but remark to Mr. Marlowe, or perhaps we should call him Mr. McDonald. Anyway, the cop said to him, "You look like a clown." To which the Florida man responded, "No S. I am a clown."
Clowns take themselves seriously.
Yeah.
I didn't go to 6 years of evil school to not be called doctor. I didn't go to 6 years of clown school to not be called a clown.
You had it right first, evil school. Police say the man had been previously arrested for possession of meth and drug paraphernalia back in November. Because, of course he was. Because Florida. But perhaps
sometimes they've been drinking, sometimes they've been doing meth.
Florida clowns need to stay awake.
But perhaps my favorite part of this story is that when police posted the video of the arrest on social media,
oh, sweet,
they apparently added clown noise sound effects to the clip.
I like that the cops like to have fun.
Now, if you're like me, your mind immediately begins to wonder, hey, exactly what qualifies as a clown noise? I mean, come on.
There's going to be a boiling in there.
You know you were thinking that, right? And so as a public service to you, the listener, and in complete violation of the ruling of my recent hearing in front of Judge Heather Winslow in the Harris County 300th District Court in Pasadena, Texas, second Pasadena reference on the show today, I'd like to present some answers to you now in the form of another Drinking News Top 5 list. This would be the top 5 things that might be considered clown noises. Number 5, the honk-honk sound of squeezing a bulbous red nose.
Absolutely.
Number 4, long, thunderous farts. And number 3, the squeaking sound made by fashioning a balloon animal that looks like your lower intestine. Number 2, the statement, the only thing you have to fear is fear itself and me. And the number 1 thing that might be considered a clown noise, number 1, the statement, don't you know who I am? I'm personal friends with Mayor McCheese. Reporting live from the Moonlight Strip Mall in Palm Bay, Florida, right in front of Joe's Pawn Shop and Burrito Stand, where I'm almost certain to be arrested for trespassing in my Hamburglar costume. My name is Cruz, and that is your
Drinking news, That's our time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. So I do apologize. My clown phobia kind of took over that segment of drinking news. It is what it is, but yeah.
I got we got the Minecraft meal, and we did get the Hamburglar zombie this weekend.
Hamburglar does still exist, right?
See, that's the thing is they do the adult Happy Meals now, and in those they have better prizes, and they usually harken back to the original ones. And so
now, when you say adult, is it like naked Ronald McDonald? Is that what?
No, it's that
because that's frightening. More frightening.
It's that they have a Big Mac in it, is what it is, or a 10-piece nugget, and so it costs more.
Okay.
And so then they have a prize that usually makes an adult happy. So it does have to do with Mayor McCheese was the Minecraft burger, the Big Mac, and then there was the Hamburglar, who was the zombie.
I just love that he said it's a prize that makes adults happy. So that's why it's Mayor McCheese and the Hamburglar. I love that. That would make me happy. I'm totally with you.
That's exactly right.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally with you. I am really enjoying this side-by-side comparison, and thank you, Ian, for bringing these whiskeys in so that we could try them.
You're welcome, sir.
I will say that the old Grandad 16, it is truly wonderful. Like there's no getting around the fact that this. I'm not saying it's a $150 beverage, but it's good whiskey. It's really good.
It's just amazing to see how wonderful all three of these are, and how closely you can tell they all come from the same place, like from the same.
Let me put it this way: if you want to have all three of these expressions, you can have all three of these bottles for less than $200.
Well, that's
which
true.
is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to do that with most other whiskeys. So, not a bad thing when you put it that way.
I'll tell you though, I just keep going back to the 114.
Yeah. But
That's
maybe they put it out because they just wanted to have one that was a high end, top shelf, quote, high end or something.
Right, something that would put their name into that category.
Yeah, into that category like that. I mean, and obviously they didn't have to change much to make it better,
Right, but you have to do this ahead of time. You have to do this 16 years ago. You have to know.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a good product here, and 16 years ago they had to put some away.
Yeah,
right, because it doesn't mature overnight.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, that seems obvious, but it's absolutely true. If you want to release a 16-year, you got to start 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Putting it in those
barrels. Has the 16-year been around for a long time?
It just came out. No, it just came out 3 or 4 months ago.
Okay. So it's new then. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, it's really. I want to say it's worth the price, but then you go back and you try these lesser expensive.
It's starting to make me think that they just don't have a bad.
But I have to also think that maybe the old Grandad and the old Grandad 114 might be underpriced.
Shh.
In today's
Don't
market.
You say that.
Yeah, I know. It's awkward.
Right?
You saw what happened when we kept telling Oliva how reasonable their prices were.
Yes.
Stop there.
Yeah.
Are there more expressions of Grandad out there, or is this?
So there's only one more that I know of, and that's the one that's underneath the bonnet. It's just old Grandad.
Okay.
And it's actually also pretty good, but the bonded is where you start getting into, wow, this is really good whiskey.
Really good, yeah.
And the 114, what's the difference between it and the bonded?
The 114 is the full proof, basically the higher proof. It's 114 instead of 100.
100
That's where I'm
bonded.
parking my cars right
But the
there.
150, the bottle that's 150, that is also 100 as well, right? Okay, yeah.
That's bottled at 100, but anytime you bond something, I think you have to bottle it at 100.
Yeah.
So the 114 is not bonded because it's not bottled at 100, but it's really good. Yeah. And you can tell there's a little color difference. You can see a little more proof on it. It's less watered.
I'm going to go so far as to say that's my favorite, even maybe more than the 16.
Ooh.
Yeah, I just really like
big
that.
words.
All right, we'll take some big words and a big break, and we will be right back to taste our final beer, by the way. It's a 903 Brewers Texas Tuxedo Porter. So I'm anxious to see how it goes with these various old Grandad expressions. We'll be right back to figure that out. Smoking and toasting.
It's got a screw top.
Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Well, it's a growler. It's from the Guadalupe Brewing Company. This is the show beer that Ian brought, and it's wonderful. I just wanted to go back
Pineapple
to
and cinnamon.
Wonderful.
Who'd have
and
thunk it?
wonderfulness. Yeah, wonderfulness. All right, so we've only got a few moments left in the show. Ian, we need to try one more beer, and that is our porter here. This is
Challenge accepted.
This is from the brewery called 903 Brewers in Sherman, Texas. This is their Texas Tuxedo Porter. And I have to say, I'm a real porter fan. I almost, in many ways, like porters. I have a tendency to like porters better than I like stouts. There's something about the creaminess of a porter that I really love.
I will reach for a porter, and porter is basically like a slightly lighter stout. I mean, that's where the style really
it feels
comes
to me a little more. And I love stouts. Don't get me wrong, but these feel to me porters can feel a little more drinkable. And one of my favorite dark beers ever is the pecan porter from 512 Brewers in Austin, Texas. That
512 just put out an English brown ale. I picked up a 6-pack. I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, I'm excited. You have to bring one of those
that.
on the show. That sounds like a plan. Not to like hone in on your beers.
No. Feel free to usurp a beer.
Yeah, I'm sort of already liking this idea. So 903 is a brewer out of Sherman, Texas. I'm assuming that
the chocolate is big on
this. This guy on the can here is one of their brewers.
This noses so well. Like the chocolate on the nose. It's like baking chocolate.
The
like
chocolate is strong with this one. It also
sense much chocolate in this.
I also can get a little coffee already just on the nose.
I get that chocolate, and I get a little bit of graham cracker crust just on the nose, like already.
Baby, baby, this is like a s'more.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's good.
Oh, and what is there's a bright twang to the end of it. What is that?
It's like a marshmallow sweetness almost.
Oh my goodness.
That's why I was saying s'more, because you get the chocolate, you get a little bit of that graham cracker. I don't get any of the coffee that I was getting a little bit of on the nose. Instead, it is just like a s'more.
So bourbon porter. Oh, sorry. I can't read that. Oh, robust porter aged on vanilla, coconut, and chocolate. Texas Tuxedo is a rich, full-bodied, robust porter that embodies Southern sophistication with a bold twist.
All right,
Blue
so you
on
mentioned
blue jean kind of writing is not
it's
the easiest to read.
tough
by
to
the
read.
way.
So I will just say I get the coconut. I get that. What was the other thing that you?
Vanilla, coconut, and chocolate.
Yeah, get all of those in a big way.
Oh, 100%,
It kind of contributes to the whole.
That
I was
vanilla
saying
is that brightness in the back, though, because it's a lot of vanilla.
And I love vanilla. Vanilla, as the Bare Naked Ladies once proclaimed, is the finest
Yeah,
of
it
the
says while the
flavors.
vanilla and the coconut create a creamy tropical balance. It's really good.
I'll go so far as to say outstanding.
Yeah.
It's maybe one of the better porters I've had. I think this is excellent. And
It's
it comes in
interesting
just a
because
regular 12-ounce
It's
can.
a little bit of a lighter mouthfeel than I was expecting, and also a little more carbonation than you see in a lot of porters. But it really works with this. I think it makes that coconut dance a little bit.
I agree. Ordinarily, you don't expect quite that much carbonation in a porter.
It almost the
works in this
carbonation
case.
almost tricks the tongue into giving it a spiciness. You know,
I'm gonna buy some of this on the way home.
this is really good.
Shout out to 903, which is the area code for a lot of my family up in Red River County. Up
Okay,
there,
right.
too.
So
there you go.
Sherman,
Yeah.
Texas is
Yeah,
in 903.
it's in that 903. It's that basically northeast Texas area is the 903 area code.
It's coming in at 9%. Pairs well with grilled ribeye, German chocolate cake,
Yes.
and turquoise bolo.
Because of that turquoise bolo, did you say? Somehow that makes me think of Billy Bob Thornton and Landman. Yeah. He could pull off a turquoise bolo and get away with it. Wow. I think this is an exceptional beer.
It's really good. Yeah.
Maybe my favorite of the beers we've had today.
I like that the can itself is basically
with the exception
blue
of this, with the exception of this growler from.
So of course
that was a
it's
surprise
Texas
find.
Tuxedo. So for anyone not understand, like if you're not from Texas, you don't understand the Texas Tuxedo. Okay, the Texas Tuxedo is as follows. It starts with your boots.
Yes,
You're going to wear boots, and you have a nice pair of boots that's not your daily wear boots. Okay,
right, these are your dress boots.
yeah, these are your wedding boots, right?
They're usually a bright color.
Well, they just have to be. They just have to be recently polished, and they're usually made out of a little nicer material.
Yep.
Then you're going to have your jeans, and your jeans will not have a rip in it.
Yeah. Not this pair.
No, this is your good pair. This is your Sunday pair, right?
Yeah.
So your jeans are not going to have a rip in it. And then you come up and you're going to have a big belt buckle. Not too big if you're going to a wedding, because your belt buckle shouldn't be bigger than the groom's. Mm-hmm. Right? You don't want to be ostentatious about it.
You don't want to steal the show.
You're going to have a nice pearl button-down shirt. You may have a bolo tie. You may not have a tie, but you're going to also have a jacket, and you're going to have your cowboy hat on.
Mm-hmm. Ian, do you have any of your porter
And then depending on the season and or any of the what?
You have any of your porter left?
Yes.
Take a sip of it, if you wouldn't mind.
Next week, Ian will describe a Canadian tux.
Depending on the season, your hat may be straw or maybe felt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then depending on the weather colors or the wedding colors or
I would love for
whatever
you.
event.
I would love for you to go back to the old Grandad 16 now that you've had a sip of that porter.
Was it gonna? It smells so good.
Wow.
Oh,
Tell me what you have, sir.
remember the graham cracker crust I was talking about a minute ago? It just turns this into the graham cracker crust. It's
Right.
so nice.
You ever have like a really good chocolate pie on a graham cracker crust?
Yeah.
My wife makes a great one. That's what that reminds me of. Any of the porter left? Mm-hmm. I'd like to try that again. I'd like to go back this time to the 114. So I'm going to try a sip of the porter. And then back to...
Oh my gosh, going back to the porter turns it into a coconut bomb.
It loses a little of the chocolate.
It's a coconut vanilla bomb.
All right, now go back to the 114 if you don't mind. As we close out the show.
Oh,
How's that, baby?
That is the pairing right there.
Sure is.
Holy
is.
cow.
Discovered totally accidentally. So the 903 Texas Tuxedo Porter and the 114 from Old Grandad. That is our secret
That
pairing
forms
discovery.
like Voltron today.
Yes, there you go.
Wow.
Had to wait all the way to the end of the show to get that, which just tells you don't sleep on smoking and toasting. Check us out. We'll be back next week. Anything exciting you can tell us about next week?
Next week we're going to talk about wine and barbecue. Actually, wines to go with barbecue.
Perfect for summer. Have a great week, my friends, and till we meet again.
Cheers,
Cheers, y'all.
Sweet